And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Yossi Ronen from Israel, who has had a face-to-face encounter and communication with several aliens who appeared in his room while living in Los Angeles. He wrote about his experience in his book, One, Face-to-Face Contact, Experiencing ET Consciousness and Human Consciousness Evolution, which we are going to talk about and more. Yossi, thanks for joining me and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for inviting me to your amazing show, amazing podcast.
Thank you, Yossi. And if you don't mind, can you just take us through these experiences and how it happened?
Yes, it was many years ago. I was 21 years old, and I went to work with my brother in California, in the Valley, for a year. And it happened, just like that. I was not, I didn't know about, I was not interested in UFO, things like that at all. I was not aware of things that happened. There were no internet on those years. And I didn't heard about, and just before, I want to express the thing that you're going to hear a very weird experience with beings. And I want to say that I was not on drugs at all at that time. And it was, and I will say exactly how it happened in the beginning. The contact itself, the communication, my feelings, my fear, my good connection, all the things. And then I will try to explain some that took me many years to understand because it was very weird. And I know now that many people have these very similar experiences. And I wanted to help people that have something similar, because my experience was, they helped me to understand the experience itself. And now that the book is out and people are talking to me, they told me that it helped them to really understand this it's very complicated situation. So what happened is that I were for months in the valley in California, and me and my brother came back from work afternoon. It was daylight still, and we went to rest. We had a hard-working day. He went to rest in his room, and I was resting in mine. And the second thing that I remember after I went to sleep is that I'm going out of my body. And that was the first time in my life that I found myself out of my body. And I understand that later that the aliens, the visitors did that on purpose to get me ready to the face-to-face when I'm awake with them, just after the out-of-body experience, and it helped me very much. I say that because people get confused. They think that it was out-of-body only or a dream. So it was an out-of-body that they started the communication like that, when I see them out of my body, and then I wake up from that on the bed and they were standing near me. So the situation when I was out of my body, I was hovering over the body and looking at my sleeping body on the bed. And I felt very good. I felt light. I felt happy. And in these seconds, it seems that I know this feeling. And I saw me sleeping there, and I watched the room, and I saw these aliens in the room walking on the floor. One of them was standing near my bed, looking at my sleeping bed and looking at my head, communicating on, or doing something. I didn't know what, but I felt very good with that. The weird thing is that when I was out of my body, the vision of them in the room walking was very natural. It seems like in that situation that I know them. And we are like friends from very past or from many years ago, something like that. They were very familiar to me. And we felt good. I felt like they are my friends. I felt their compassion or love to me, like very good family or friend or something like that. And the situation in the out of body is totally different from to be in the body, because you can see without your eyes and you can hear without your ears, and it's totally different. You don't feel you don't understand things even from your brain. You're really in a total different consciousness. So I knew that I'm going back to my body, and I went back to my body. And the other things that I remember, that I woke up with my face to the wall, and I remembered that I had a weird dream. I thought it was a dream. I thought I dreamt myself going out of my body and see creatures in my room, and one of them standing near my body. I didn't know even the idea of going out of the body, so I thought it was a dream. And I thought, what a weird dream that I see green creatures in the room and I'm out of my body and that. And then I heard a noise in the room. And I started to be afraid, because I knew that the door is locked and someone is walking in the room. I knew it's not my brother. So I turned around, and that was the most shocking, terrifying feeling that I had in my life, that I see them. I saw that one that in my out of body was standing near my bed, was standing looking at me, the height, like he was short, but when I was sitting in my body, he was higher than me, and he looked at me with his black eyes, and it was very, very frightened. I didn't know what's going on. I thought maybe I'm still dreaming, and I pinched myself, and it didn't help so much. They were standing there, the one near me looking at me, and the others standing there, and they didn't do nothing. They just stand and looked at me, and like waiting for me for something. And I'm paralyzed from fear. I thought maybe I lost my mind, or I'm still dreaming and I think that I'm awake. It was very frightened. And I really didn't know what to do. And the last thing that I had to do is to remember that a minute ago we were fine with each other, and it seems that I know them. So I try to lower my fear and think that my fear is only in my fear, and it's not because they are dangerous or something like that. And I started to lower my fear. The thing is that the fear was because that I felt that they can understand my feelings, that they can hear my thoughts, that they feel my fear. And it was frightened even more, because it seems like they are going inside my head. But when I lowered my fear, I started to realize that I can hear I know what they think, because I am aware of their thinking. I mean, I understand that they know my thinking because I know their thinking too. I mean, what happened there that they let me communicate telepathically with their consciousness. And when I started to realize that, it was amazing because I lowered the fear lowered very much. I felt calm because they were calm. They were not threatening me in any way. They were not trying to do something in force. They were just passive, standing there and waiting for me to communicate with them. And the communication was not like I'm sending thoughts and they are receiving thoughts. It was that I realized that I can communicate to their consciousness like they communicate with my consciousness. It's like we are one. It's like we are connected, like two computers connected and have the same information in the same time. And it was started to be a very joyful experience because my curiosity wanted to like see them, know what they think, how they feel, how they think, what they think about reality, where they came from. And it seems like I'm asking them, it was the question in my head, and they answered like we are. I asked if they came from a different stars because it was the only way to understand something very far and so different. And they say we are not from different star. This is your way to understand something very far and not familiar for you, but we came from a different dimension. So different dimension, still this, took me years to understand what it means, different dimension. But this is what they explained to me. And it seemed that other dimension, it's not a different place. It's not a physical different place. It's like a spiritual different place. Spiritual is the only word that I can find to something that is existing, but you don't see physically. But it was like a different dimension is not a different place. It's here, but we are not aware of it. And they can move from that other dimension and come to our physical dimension with the body. And that's what I understood, that they can come and go. They have the ability to come with a body in 3D world like us and to get out of it. And they did it in the end of the communication, but this is what they done. And this how it starts, the communication starts, because I had like question, but I didn't ask. It's that it was the experience of their consciousness. And they were very calm, their thoughts were very in ease and with security, and they're very like humble, or without any one thing is better than the other, or thoughts like that, because they were between them, they were connected totally. They didn't have any ego at all. They were just being happy to communicate with each other and communicate with me, and come here and visit. And it seems that they came with the purpose for us. I don't think that they came because I was a special human being or something like that. I think they came because it seems that it happened, it was easy for them to do that in that minute with me in that place. It was like easy for them to do that in a way. And they let me to realize their consciousness. And by that, they helped me to understand my consciousness and to understand that my consciousness have two abilities. Like when I'm awake, this is the waking consciousness, the ordinary, but I'm still having my consciousness even if I'm not in my body. And they wanted me to realize that I'm like a spirit or entity that now lives in a body for a certain time and will have the ability, like them, to go into a 3D body and then go out. This is one of the things that it was important for them for me to understand. It took me some time to realize that in words like that, but that was the realization. And because I met them in the beginning, not with the body, only from my pure consciousness, it was easy and fun, and I wasn't not afraid. But when I came and realizing their existence from my body, it was totally different, because my body had his own instinct of fear from something that he don't know, that he don't understand. And the fear was automatically from my body. It wasn't because there is something to be careful from them or something like that. And they want me to understand that. That's why they did it in two ways of consciousness. And it was very easy without them talking and trying to explain that to me. I understood that from the experience. In the beginning, it was good, it was fun. And when I was from my body, look at them with my eyes, I was in a very frightened mode. And I think many of us that have this communication are afraid because the body reaction, not from really that there is something to be afraid from them. I believe that they have the ability, this advanced ability to come here and go because they are very spiritual consciousness advanced, and they don't need anything from us or something like that. I think they really came here to help us to realize who we really are, that we are a spirit in a body. And they do that because they wanted us to be mature and not to help us improve our consciousness, ourself, and to understand that we all one, and not, and stop the dangerous times that we are now, exactly now. And it seems that they are aware of that, and they think that the way for us to improve ourselves and have a peace with each other is that our consciousness will be a little bit developed to its real nature. It seems that our real nature is much more wider and higher than from what we are observing now from our body only.
When you were out of your body, you felt like you knew these beings. Is it possible that you knew them pre-birth?
I thought about it a lot, and it seems like that. The situation of being out of the body is a consciousness that is not limited to time or to space. And I felt that because I could, when I was out of the body, I could move my attention to the other room and see my brother sleeping, or my attention, if by will, could go out of the room and see the cat walking there, or my consciousness by will could go inside the consciousness of the visitors and observe their consciousness. So rebirth is included by that. So it's much more wider, that it seems that we are connected in that dimension of consciousness that we do have, but we are not aware of that. So we are connected to them all the time, but we are not aware.
Some of my guests who have had near-death experiences note that when they're out of their body, they have a visual field of 360 degrees. Did you have that?
Yes. Yes, I have that, but it seems like, it took me a couple of seconds to realize that. You are, in the second that I was out of my body, I was trying to, I was looking for my body. I was looking down to my hands. I searched for my hand and legs, and I didn't see nothing. It takes time to the consciousness to go back to his real free ability, that it's not through the eyes. I was trying to look for my eyes, to look through my eyes. But because you don't use your eyes, your sight is totally different. You can see only by will everywhere. And even in time. I remember that I looked back in time, and it was a realization from my birth. It's like going back in time and see things and understand things in a minute. It was amazing.
I'm assuming that these beings looked what people described as the gray aliens, like short, skinny beings with large heads and big eyes.
Yes, they looked like that, but they were green, very strong green. And their eyes, they were like, like the grays, but more elliptic, not to the sides, to up and down, like round and one was skinny, one was a little bit more fat. They were looking different. They were connected by their consciousness, but they have own individuality. It's not that they have a hive consciousness, that it's one consciousness. They were connected, but each one was in a different individual personality like us.
Do you think that since they're from another dimension or another reality, that their bodies vibrate at a different frequency than we do? And your fear response, or your body's fear response, is due to the interaction with their frequency?
Yes. I didn't understand that in the beginning. After a couple of years, when I decided to publish my writings in a book, I wanted to be sure that I wrote the right thing, and I'm not going to mislead people about what I think. And so I went to hypnotic regression. And that one, that psychiatrist that was, his specialty was hypnotic regression, invite me to him to do that, because he was very curious. He had some regressions with other Israelis that have similar contact. So the first thing that he done is to let me go once again to the contact, to the same contact, and asking me why I'm afraid. And when he asked me, I didn't know. And he told me, can you ask them that now that you are, I said, okay. And I suddenly had a beautiful answer from them, and I told him it's like they told me that I'm not used to be out of my body, and contact with them is not only from the body, it's including the consciousness itself, that it's not depending on the body, and they are themselves not totally physical. They are beings that can be in a physical body if they want, but the physical body is only a suit, something that covers them so they can walk in 3D place. Very similar to us. We are just don't realize that we are in a suit now. So the contact with them is to contact with their higher consciousness. And one of that quality that they have in that higher consciousness is like, for instance, a strong, strong love. And strong love, it's like when you are not used to it and you are, it's new for you, you can be afraid of that because you're thinking that that love is trying to swallow you. Like they are trying to penetrate your heart. And we translate, the body translated in his own language because he don't understand oneness. He don't understand oneness. He understand that people are separate and creatures are separate. And when they are one with you and you feel their higher frequency, you are in shock. And it's hard for you.
Do you think that when they are in their dimension or reality, they don't use these bodies? They're just pure consciousness, and that these bodies that you saw are purely created just for them to be in our environment?
Yes, I think that I used to have some automatic writing. It's not such an easy thing to do, but I succeed to do for a couple of times to do automatic writings, and I wrote it in the book. One of them was that I asked them about that exactly. And the answer was that they don't need the body in their dimension. But when they come here, two things happens. They are like making with their consciousness, not in a technical way. With their consciousness, they can make like a suit for be in our physical world. This is one thing. And the other thing is me looking at them is the body, the eyes, the brain is trying to understand who they are and how they are look like, and we are taking a part in that translation of how they look like. What I mean is that two people can stand near one being and see them differently, see him in a different way because of his own translation that is a little bit different from the other. And if one of them is totally afraid and don't let their consciousness to be one with him, the fear can translate the brain to see something very frightened. And I think this is one of the reasons for the differentiation between people that most of the time see them in a good vibe or good connection, and other can have the connection, but they are still afraid, and because they didn't let themselves to be open to them. And yes.
Did you ask them if they have a spaceship? And if so, is that what they use to travel between the dimensions?
Yes, I didn't actually ask them, but I felt that they can go without a spaceship. They show me how they, when they left the room, they show me how they can be unmaterialized. It's like it reminds me very much of the UFO that suddenly disappear. You see a UFO in the sky and he suddenly became to be a small light or something and disappeared from your eyes in a second. They did something very similar in my room. They went, there were 3 or 4 or 5 of them. They went to the end of the room, they hold hands, and they started to spin in a very fast circle. And that circle became to be a circle of light that becomes smaller and smaller, and they disappeared from my eyes. My consciousness knew that they didn't disappear from everything. They are only disappeared from my physical eyes. I couldn't see them. I couldn't see them anymore. And what I understood that this is the way they went to they went to their dimension. From this is the way they make a move from our physical 3D world. And probably the UFOs do that the same. If the UFOs are physical, maybe they are, because if they can go and if they can make the body like it looked biological body. I mean, I saw the bones, I saw the eyes, I saw the fingers, I saw the skin. They can do that, but they can go and out of that without technical usage. But maybe the UFOs are technical things that they do.
Did they give you any message for humanity?
Well, the message was not. I mean, there was their attention was in a wide range of the attention was to us to get open to our real self. This was the wide message of them for me, and I think for many others. When they communicate, they want to help us to understand our really big consciousness that is much more wider than our body limitation. But there was one message that they gave me in a different way, because all of the communication was not in force. I mean, all the things that I wanted to know, I asked them, and it's like they are answering me. They were totally passive. They didn't bring nothing that I don't want to know or I don't want them to do. But there was one thing that they want me to realize before they went out of the room. And it was, they gave me that understanding in a kind of a vision of a dream. It was that I suddenly find myself in a forest, in a beautiful forest with trees, high trees near me, and a beautiful day and a green grass. And a couple of cows were standing there and eating the grass. And suddenly a roar came from the horizon with big fire and burning everything, even the cows too. And they left me with the feeling of that remember that this can happen if humanity will not prevent that. It could happen. It was not like they told me, listen, this is going to be, this is what's going to happen. They told me, be careful that it won't do everything that you can to prevent that from happening. That was the only thing that they like forced me to realize and to see.
All right, so you're laying in bed, they leave. What happened next? Did you get up and tell your brother?
When they leave, I remember that my body relaxed in from the even when the communication was good, I was almost paralyzed from fear. Even the communication was very floating, and lower my fear. My body have his own, facing that frequency was not easy. So when they left, I felt my body relaxed, and I think I shouted from releasing something. And my brother came and told me, well, what happened to you? I couldn't talk, and I couldn't explain him what to do. I told him, I don't know, it's okay. He gave me a glass of water, and I drank, and I went out of the apartment. And I sat outside trying to realize what happened to me. It was a mix of very bad feelings of maybe I lost my mind, because they left and there were nothing left in the room. The contact was half physical and half not. And I did know, and there were like creatures that I never saw before. There were no internet. I didn't see this grace before. I thought I am the first one that see that kind of aliens. I didn't know exactly what's that. So I thought maybe or I lost my mind or I don't know. And I sat there and I looked outside, and suddenly I realized that my eyes see different. I could see things that I never could see before. And I knew it was the influence of the contact with them. It seems that I could hear the color of the leaf. I mean, the color of the leaf was mixed with the sound. And and because the color and the sound were mixed, I could understand the leaf much more. It's like the leaf was talking to me, like, he was not talking, but I could understand the leaf much more. Years after that, I heard that this is synesthesia. And that happened to me the first time and the last. I mean, for 3 hours, I have this synesthesia in my brain, and then it's over. But in that couple of hours, my brain worked totally different. It seems that my senses started to communicate with each other. To every site was a sound included, and the sounds from far away were included with a kind of a vision. And I try to understand what's going on with my senses, because I was very happy. My consciousness, my awareness became to be much more wider. I felt things, and I saw the neighbor come to his apartment, and I looked at him, and he looked for me amazing. It was an ordinary man, but I suddenly saw that all around his body were like fibers of silver and light, like, I don't know, it's vibration or lines of light, and I could felt his feelings, and I felt his immense love, and that he was not aware of that at all. And it was amazing. I mean, his heart was amazed. I mean, it was radiating love with immense force, but he were not aware of that at all. He was sad. He was sad and tired and went home. And this is, it gave you an understanding of us human that are really very high entity that is not aware of that. The body, the suit is limited knowing that.
In what other ways do you feel you have changed since this experience?
Well, I think the simple awareness of that you are not only your body changes everything. Totally. I mean, I remember that I was in, it's like when, there is an expression ontological shock. That, I mean, exactly what happened to me. It was not easy in the beginning, because when you realize that you are not only your body, you realize that you've been living in a kind of a lie till now from your birth. And you cannot say that to no one, because no one will understand what you're saying to them. And you're alone now. And reality is totally different. It's an earthquake. It's a shock. You don't know what to do in the beginning with that. You know that if you will tell that to someone, that a couple of creatures were communicating with me and gave me the realization that I'm a spirit in a body, they will say, okay, you had something, you took something, or you had a something in your head was, but now you're okay, it's okay. I know. So I didn't tell that to no one, because I know what the reaction will be. And this is a great shot, but I could not forget, I could not run from that. I tried not to think about that, or to live and to live a normal life, but I couldn't do that anymore. When I went back to Israel, I quit my job and started to learn art and tried to study and have information as much as I can about where can I find information about our real essence of. And then I realized that the spirit world, the spirit culture, talk about that, and even religion believes know that too. So I try to, to read books and to find if it resonates with my experience.
Have you had any further contact with them?
Yes, but not physical. I didn't want. I didn't want to do that physical. I tried, but it was too hard for me. But it's very easy to communicate with them when you can communicate with your higher self, that it's not from the limitation of the brain. And if you had a communication in the past with them, it seems that you remember the place in your brain, in your physical brain, that can be connected to the spirit. And it's an open corridor now. You just have to remember the feeling that you had there. Close your eyes and remember the feeling, remember them, remember the good love that they have to each other and to you and to everything. And you're inside and you can ask things with yourself and communicate with them. And they can, if you really want to communicate, it's much more, it's not easy, but you can do that. And I do that with the automatic writing. It's like I put my hand with a pen on the paper and let it scramble whatever he wants. And after that, I could see sentences that were written that I have to learn or what I meant. They can do it.
Why do you think some people have positive experiences and some have negative?
Well, I don't think that the reason is because there are good or bad entities. It's more complicated than that, because in the realm of the oneness, there is good and there is bad in that dimension that they came from in the oneness, in the philosophic understanding. You know, the real essence of everything is connected, but we are aware only to the physical part of it. And in that oneness, in that spiritual world, the good and bad are connected in a way that it's like light and darkness connected. And when you put a light in a dark room, the room is lightened. You don't see the darkness. I mean, the darkness with light is light. So in the oneness, the good and the bad are together. But when we are as human that is separating everything, including bad and good, you can have a good experience and you can have you can have a bad experience. It depends on your situation in that moment. And people can say, I'm sure that it was a bad entity, and he is right. But was his own, like, to be open to that only side of the darkness in the one that it's not a dark place. It's only if you separate it, that we do it here, good and bad, we can see the dark side. So it depends on us.
Why do you think contact is happening more than ever now?
I think the situation now is it needs that kind of understanding in our consciousness, because if you can see, I mean, in United States, in Israel, there is a strong divided political, for instance, sides, right and left, and they become to be much like almost become to be a war between things. And I think they understand that this separation is dangerous because we cannot improve ourselves to see the oneness in that separation. We cannot see the other one. We are afraid of him, we are blaming him. And they know that if we continue with that, we're gonna harm ourselves. I mean, we can kill each other. You know, it's only a press of a button of atomic warhead can finish everything. And because they are aware of that, they are trying to do two things: to open our consciousness by they are coming here. They do two things. They force us to try to understand that. Who are they? What is our consciousness? Why? And by that, to understand ourselves and widen our consciousness. And the other thing is to make us ready to contact them, because it seems that it getting closer. When we will open our consciousness, it will include contact with them. So they are doing the both. They are like contact to many people and give them the urge to understand themselves and reality, and to talk with each other and trying to understand our consciousness.
Did you have any communication with them about God?
Well, that was the most strongest thing that I felt when I was connected to their consciousness. They didn't tell me that, because they are not talking. They don't tell me, except of that warning with the fire, that they didn't tell me nothing. But when I was connecting with their consciousness and I wanted to realize how they think, what they feel, who are they, I realized that they are aware of something that give them and give reality the existence. And that was the reason that they were so calm and without ego and happy, because they are aware of something that we are not. And that something is like a mother and father and together, that keeping them safe. They were aware of that. And the way I saw that, it was like that, and light, it's a strong light that give existence to everything, and to me, and to nature, and to stars, and everything that. And but I didn't connect it to God, because what I learned in school about God was totally, different. In school, when you learn in religion, God is something above you. It's like can that tell you what to do good, and when you're good, he is okay with you, and when you're bad, they punish you. And it was so different that it took me years to realize that they are believing in God, but in a different way than us. For them, God is something very natural, they don't have to believe, they know. But it's not something that threatens them, or totally the opposite. God is the source of their happiness, the source of their existence, and the source of their peacefulness with each other. For us, it's something very, we can, religion people can fight each other by saying that God is like that, or God is like that. It's very weird. And and it was so strong to feel that immense love and light that I will not forget it anymore. And from that instance and on, I believe. But it's not a religion belief. It's a deep awareness of that.
Do you think that the aliens are wanting you to assist them by getting out this message that they are, or we are, spiritual beings? And two, if we're not careful, we're going to destroy everything.
Well, I think they do it with many, because I heard that from many others that have this communication. And from my experience, that I felt that they are like my family. When I was free from my brain and body, and in the out of body, that I knew that I know them. I knew that they want to take care of me, that they are very appreciating me as a spirit like them that lives here in that very difficult physical world. It's not it seems that they knew that I'm like his friend or family that went to some place that he wanted to do there something, and it's very hard for him. And they are try to protect us as much as they can, that we are not be ruined by our difficulties that we have here. So they, like a family from far away, they looking at us and trying to help us to get over the difficulties, because we are like them. They are just spirit like us. We are family.
Is it possible that we are them? And what I mean by that is, if they want to visit here for a very short time, they use those gray alien bodies. But if they want to be here for a time much longer, they have to be born into this body.
Yeah, I heard about a lot about experiences that have that notion that they are trying to have a body like us, because I didn't felt like that at all. What I felt from them, that it was easy for them to have a physical body and to get out of it. I didn't. So I hear people say that maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there are beings like that. The beings that I met don't need body. They can have body whenever they want, and get rid of it whenever they want.
Could you definitely tell that there were different personalities between the aliens?
Yes, because they act differently. When I was in the calm communication with them, when I was out of my body and I look at them and they were walking in the room, I knew that they are experiencing themselves in a body. They were like amazed by that I can walk with legs and see with these eyes. They were touching things and like experiencing how is to feel something, how is to be in a body that walks. And one of them was walking on the carpet and he was happy and like laughing. Years after that, when I saw my kid at the first time that he can walk without me holding him, he was so happy that he can walk alone. He was like walking, and it reminds me just the same experience with that alien that was walking on the carpet, and I knew that this is the first time for him to be in a body that can walk. He was happy that he controlled that body and walk with it. So I'm sure that they experienced that.
After watching this video, people may want to contact you and ask you questions. Are you okay with that?
Of course, of course.
What's the best way to
So
contact you?
my email is the best way. I mean, it's YOSRON number 7 @gmail.com.
I'll put that in the description below in the video.
Yeah, that's the best. And I think you know, I work on that book for almost 30 years because I wanted that the book will help, first of all, people that have communication like that and they are confused. Because I had many years, it's more than 40 years now that I am after that, and I realized what's going on and I wanted to help. And I put there a lot of understandings and a lot of information. So they can get the book in Amazon. It's called One Face-to-Face Contact. They can find it there. And it's not, if someone don't have any money to, he can, email me and I will send him the book. It's okay. It's not, I think it's important for people to read. So everyone that don't have the money to buy it from Amazon, he can contact me.
What is the most important message that someone should get from reading your book?
I think the most important thing is starting to realize that we are a very high spiritual being that living in a suit now for a purpose. There is a purpose for that. And this is the time to start to have the ability to communicate from the body to the spirit. And everything will be changing for the person itself. It's going to heal him. It's the healing process is by your spirit. It can be very strong. Look at that, sugar pills that can heal you only from your believing. If you are connected to the spirit can do marvelous things. And with each other, it's gonna give you the ability to see the light side of other people. See the love that they have, and you're gonna feel much more better with them. And I think it's gonna grow and grow and give chance to our planet to survive. It's very important now.
Yossi, before we finish, can you give us one more positive message?
The oneness that we all talk about and we want to achieve, the awareness of the oneness, it's not very hard to get because it exists now. I mean, your spirit is connected to the oneness. You are connected to the oneness, to God. God is with in that way is inside of you. So it's not that you have to learn and to do things to get inside that oneness. You just have to realize, have to get rid of the things that blocking you from yourself, from your higher consciousness, from God that is within you.
Yossi, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you, Jeff, very much. It was a pleasant doing that.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.